They're in control. All this, it's them. They were running the war because I gave them the power to do it.
This is doing you no good. The doctor told you to avoid stress.
No. Turn it back on.
Oh, Ike, mercy's sakes alive.
There, right there. You see that?
What?
His pupils. For a second, he looks like a reptile.
A reptile. Okay, Mr. Eisenhower, that is what is known as the camel's back.
Maybe. Listen. Valiant Thor and his people aren't the only ones here. There's another group. They live among us. They look like us. They're just really just...
Where in this earthful world did you come up with this notion?
One of the people that Valiant Thor abducted turned out to be one of these things. They disposed of the body because they didn't want us to know that they had competition. But we do know. I see them everywhere.
Henry. Sorry, Mr. President. Must be my allergy.
It's all right, Henry.
Go take care of it.
Hey guys, it's KJ from the Scariest Movie Ever. And have you noticed lately that the world is on fire? It's not just happening in America, it's happening all around the world. Everything is catching on fire. And it's no coincidence that all of this is happening right now in 2023 as we stand at the doorstep of tribulation. The tribulation is a time in our history where God's wrath is unleashed on this earth. The tribulation can also be viewed as hell releasing on earth. Also, during these times, it's not just the forests that are catching on fire, it's also buildings. Many structures are being set ablaze and burned down to the ground. Many of you already know that there are hundreds of food processing centers that have been set ablaze over the last few years. And of course, we also have the railway situation where so many trains are going off tracks and tracks are being dismantled and destroyed. Once again, not just in America, but all around the world. All of these are signs of the times that we're in. We are in the end times. The Bible is about to be finished. The Bible is playing out before our eyes. There's just a matter of years left before that book is complete, before we've lived out everything in the Bible, which means right now we're about to head into the worst part of the Bible, the scariest part of the Bible. The scariest things are about to unfold as the Lord destroys this world. As the Lord destroys this world and brings something new. And this world must be destroyed. Look at the evil spreading all around us. Everything's coming out in these days. Everything's being revealed. Nothing will be hidden. So this is why more and more we're having people on airplanes freaking out, saying that the people next to them aren't normal. There's something wrong. We had the one famous case, the one lady that was saying that that person's not real. But since then, there have been a handful of other cases of people on airplanes freaking out because they don't think that people around them are real. There's something's off about them. I believe we'll be seeing a lot more of this as these things start to manifest before us. All of these minions of Satan, all of these tares, the serpent seed, they no longer have a reason to hide as we move further into the end of this story. Speaking of the fires spreading all around the world, of course, we have to take a look at Maui. Many of you already understand what's happening with Maui, and it's huge. Satan has taken control of America and is turning the system not just against Americans, but against the entire world. They're going to dismantle and destroy America and bleed everything into a one-world order. When you look at the Maui fires and you look with a trained eye, you will see Satan's fingerprints all over it. Many of us understand that there were beams used to create this situation, if you will, in Maui, Hawaii. We know that our own government is turned against us. When you look at Maui, you can see this clearly. From the beginning of the fires to the very end, everything about this is suspect. The way that the police created a blockade and actually caused people to die in their cars. The government's trying to cover up the area now. They don't want anybody going in. Also, they're forcing people out who were living there. The Hawaiian governor and the Hawaiian mayor and other politicians held a press conference concerning the fires in Maui and Lahaina. Pay attention to the governor and the mayor. You'll see them doing their hand signs. And then also there was some interesting signage from the lady who was doing the sign language for this press conference.
Try to come to you. We have people who go out to the field with palm pads. They'll look for you. We'll go to the shelters. We'll go to their locations and try to help them. As far as public assistance, is primarily
moved into the neighborhood. Communications back to those who make those notifications are physically and nearly impossible.
Poles that fell on our roads, 29 of the power poles. Poles that fell on our roads, 29 of the power poles were down, and they were still energized.
Not only that, but if you look at a map of Maui, you'll notice that Maui actually looks like a human being. It actually looks like a person. Even more interesting is Lahaina is right around the forehead. Lahaina is what caught fire. So there's fire on top of the head of Maui, and Maui is actually a trickster god. It's a demigod. That falls back into line with the idea that all of the ancient gods are returning for the end of days, and we find that in all kinds of ways.
The state of Hawaii.
Not good. That is not good.
Here you can see the Hawaiian state flag from 1959, and you'll notice the phoenix there. And the phoenix is one of the most sacred symbols of the Freemasons, considered the sun and the false messiah that has risen to become the soul of the sun god Ra. The phoenix is all about death and rebirth, and of course 2023, door of tribulation. Perfect timing for this. We'll be seeing a lot more of the phoenix. It's on our money. It's all over our money. It's all over America. The phoenix, the double-headed bird. The phoenix is a sign of death and rebirth, and that's exactly the cycle we're in right now. We're seeing the death of the fourth age and the beginning of the fifth age, the final age of man, or the age of Aquarius, or the age of Antichrist, which will just last a matter of years. But it will see the complete and total destruction of this earth and everybody living in it.
And there is such an incredible spirit going on in this entire community, people helping other people. And I know that long after all the camera crews are gone and the rest of the world has moved on, the rebuilding will just begin. And Hawaiians are a strong cultural people and a family-loving people. And with the help and support, you're going to see a lot of phoenix stories rising from the ashes here, because that Aloha spirit is real, y'all. You're going to see a lot of phoenix stories rising from the ashes here.
I'm gonna fly, rise like a phoenix, out of the ashes, seeking rather than vengeance. Retribution, you were won. Once I'm transformed, once I'm reborn, you know I will rise.
Interesting. The garments we may consider to wear can significantly reflect laser light, thus potentially minimizing any possible harm. Are those endowed with fluorescent or reflective elements? Such materials have the advantageous property to either give off or rebound the laser lights, thus curtailing the heat and potential damage inflicted by the laser.
I see a shirt survived. What kind of shirt survives a fire like that, I wonder? A shirt that says, Sister Revolution. Hard to believe, huh? The whole building goes down. The whole street goes down, and then these shirts survive somehow. The Sister Revolution. A lot of them, actually. That's crazy.
I'm always seeing stories in the news week by week referencing ancient gods. So I've done videos on this in the past. It's the idea, once again, that these consciousness, these spirits, these entities, all of it's returning for the end of everything. Here's a really interesting one I found in relation to viruses, of course. Here's a new, scary virus that we're all supposed to be watching out for. Here's another example of what I was talking about with the ancient gods returning. And this is I think, really interesting way of them bringing this about. They're actually calling the latest, as you can see, strain Eris. And some of you may know that Eris was actually a Greek goddess, and she was the goddess of strife and discord. Doesn't sound very fun, does it? Well, neither is this whole agenda they're playing out before us here either. And also this brings to mind the new statue that they put in New York City just a few months back. And this, of course, was also another representation of the goddess. Return of the Ancient Ones for the end of all. Also, I want you to take notes of the EG.5. And do you see what they're doing here? Some of you understand that in this system, you'll see the way that Satan puts things out there, and he turns things upside down, and he reverses things as well. So we take a look at EG.5. We understand that they're claiming these are new strains, but these are really going to be side effects of the potion that millions of people have taken. It's going to be a part of it. Also, they'll be activating the 5 plus that letter, if you know what I'm saying. And that's going to be causing a lot of effects as well. So it's interesting they've reversed it here. EG5 or 5G. And then the E reversed. And this is going to be a part of that program. And people are going to be fooled into thinking there's some new strain and they have these new symptoms and what's going on. This is absolutely sinister, but I believe you guys understand what I'm showing you here. Evil has been on Earth since the beginning, and it's something that we all have to deal with. Living in 2023, things are crazier than they've ever been before in human history, or ever will be again. It's amazing to me how many people are just blind to what's happening with Satan, blind to the activity of demons. They don't even understand that this is all very real, and these entities are playing a large part in your life, especially if you don't even realize they're there. They've been with us, like I said, since the beginning. Found a really interesting illustration of that. This is a toy from 1930. Check this one out.
That makes sense. Then it goes D-E-M-O-N-S. Demons. This is from the 1930s, dude. No one's making shit like that.
What company made that?
So it's a company, Gateway Toy Company. So
You know the back of it?
this is Gateway, right? That's all we know about it. Like,
Get it? Oh, I get it. Gateway.
Right. Danvers, Massachusetts. Wow. These things are really, really hard to find. I, of course, have them, which is amazing. But here's the deal. This is the craziest thing. So the first thing is, there's hidden messages in these boxes. So the first thing when you look at this box, it says family. It's the only word on there that is in all caps, right? So what happens if you spell the word family with the blocks? Where is my other?
Why is
the Y is over here. Let me spell it right. So I have to sometimes. Here we go. Yep, there it is. So if I spell family in these blocks, if I just turn them all over, check this out. M-U-R-D-E-R. So imagine a children set of blocks where a kid spells the word family and directly on the other side is the word murder.
Holy cow.
And of course we find that beast system manifesting in all kinds of ways in these days. Naturally, it's going to be in our entertainment. There's a new movie coming out called Rebel Moon, and they're saying it's going to be the new Star Wars. They recently released a trailer, and just within the opening moments, you realize from the trailer that they're mocking our Savior. And on top of that, of course, they have their all-seeing eyes.
Do you know the story of the Princess Issa? In myth, she was called the Redeemer. It was said this child would stop the madness of war.
For over 10 years, myself and many others out there have been hyper-aware and hypersensitive of the symbols in this system, and we've been exposing them the best way we know how. But living in 2023 at the verge of tribulation, we're really seeing an explosion of all of this coming out to the surface, especially with the language of symbols. A perfect example of that is how these symbols have manifested through Space Force. Even in the Space Force advertisement, you can see some symbolism in there. It only lasts for a few seconds, but when you take a closer look, you can actually find some kind of a chimera, perhaps an ancient one, on one side, and then on the other side you can see what appears to be perhaps CERN or something like the LHC. And once again, we understand that this whole system's all about that, breaking that barrier, breaking that veil, and bringing hell into Earth. But Space Force has just released a new symbol that goes along with their new squadron. And as you can see right here, it's really obvious what this is. This is the beast system. You guys know this. And it's manifesting and becoming really obvious. But as you guys know, millions of people are still unable to see it, even though it's right there in front of them. But here's the new Space Force Squadron logo with the all-seeing eye.
Now you might have seen this strange logo that's making rounds around the internet. Space Force activated its first targeting unit. It's the 75th Intelligence, Surveillance, and Reconnaissance Squadron. Its logo shows the Grim Reaper. It's one eye showing it that glows with light. Its nose is shaped like the Space Force emblem. It's inside 3 overlapping triangles, which is likely a reference to the Valknut symbol, which represents the 9 worlds of Norse mythology and the connections between heaven, hell, and earth.
In these days, in these times, everything's coming to the surface. Everything that was hidden in darkness is being revealed. This is why we're seeing so much about cloning and clones these days. But did you know the cloning thing has been around for many years, and what's even more interesting is it's connected to aliens, so-called aliens, and UFO worship.
Down to the in the Philippines.
The role of the Philippine Raelian is to propagate or act as being the agent of couples here in the Philippines, Filipino couples, childless couples who are interested to have their own baby through cloning. They have cloned already 10 couples, and 5 of them suffered miscarriages, and the other 2 were delivered already, a healthy baby, and that other remaining 3 couples are due this coming, I think, early February. From 1993 to I think 1998, I was the national guide. But due to my job, they are already prepared to implant another 20 couples, and they are already I think around 2,000 couples who are willing and interested to be cloned.
We are a part of history. It's forever. It will be like Adam and Eve. It's the first human being created through human cloning.
His name is Rael, and he heads a wealthy, well-organised religious sect whose faith is science and whose ambition is to use existing technology to clone a human being.
There have been a lot of questions lately about Jamie Foxx, if he's actually real or if he's being cloned. Just like there was the Damar Hamlin situation. And a lot of people were curious about that because, once he was injured, and he was injured on the field, on a live broadcast, he was gone for a while, and when he came back, something seemed different. He looked a little different, and also he was missing a tattoo. Also, it was interesting that when he made his first public appearance, without a mask or anything like that, he was blaspheming Jesus Christ. He had this jacket on, you probably remember. And it's weird because I noticed that with Jamie Foxx also. There have been some strange Jamie Foxx stories out there. And I noticed something similar with Jamie Foxx. Ever since now, they're saying he's recovered and he's back and he's better. Well, now he's going to be starring in a movie where he plays God, opposite, Mickey Rourke's devil, in not another church movie, but this doesn't seem like something that's going to be glorifying Jesus Christ. So once again, we have the Damar situation, we have Jamie Foxx, people are questioning if they're clones. Then once they come back into the public, the first thing they seem to be doing, or one of the first things they seem to be getting involved in, is some kind of mockery of Jesus, some kind of mockery of our Heavenly Father. These theories on Jamie Foxx being cloned are made even more interesting in the fact that his most recent movie is called They Cloned Tyrone. And, of course, the symbolism is all throughout this film as well. Even here you can see the all-seeing eyes on both sides of the characters here. There's even a sequence in the film where these characters are in a bathroom. You'll see it here in a moment. And notice the poster on the wall. And, of course, that's the Freemason hand grip. It's 2 hands embraced in the Freemason grip. The situation in Maui is next level as far as what's going on here in the beast system. Now they're vaporizing other human beings. They're doing this right in front of the world, and It's completely chaotic, I understand. But when you really take a look at the situation, nothing is normal here, all right? And nothing's being handled the way that normally it would be. And that's because this system is shifting and changing. The enemy and his minions are taking over this system. So the only shot you've got, if you didn't already know this, is Jesus Christ. If you haven't accepted Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior, I beg you to now. You're running out of time. The beast is about to take over this system for a matter of years, and everything will be destroyed eventually. You have an inheritance in heaven that you didn't even know about. Claim it. It's right there for you. Everybody's got one. All you have to do is accept Jesus in your heart and believe. Just believe and follow him. Pick up your cross and follow him. Satan is really stepping up his game, and that's what the Hawaii situation has shown me. So I say get ready for more. The world is catching on fire. It's all being done by design. So just keep your eyes on this. The world is catching on fire, and it's all by design for such a time as this. Again, the enemy's taking this system, and we're not a part of this. We have an inheritance in heaven, each one of us, that we should claim and that we can claim. I claimed it, and I hope you do too. I want to see you there. So that's all I wanted to share with you in this video, guys. But as always, thank you so much for checking it out, and I hope you're doing all right out there. I know these are crazy times, but just hang in there, all right? God bless, and I'll talk to you soon.